I'm really excited for this episode of Them Frames That Make Us. My guest today is a analog photographer. She shoots portraits, conceptual projects. Her daughter is her biggest muse. And we're also going to be talking about a project that involves a dead fish as well. She's an award-winning photographer. She's received recognition through PX3. She was a finalist at the LensCulture Portrait Awards and been exhibited through Women Street Photographers. She's also worked with huge brands such as Leica and Harlowe, and she's a cool person as well. Her name is Breana Mazzagatte, or simply B. So let's get into it with this episode of Them Frames That Make Us. Hi, B.
Hi, Dan.
Hey.
Hey.
The beginnings are always awkward, aren't they? Because we've obviously had a chat before in the green room. But we are here to talk about some of your photographs, professional image, a personal one, and one that the world has never seen before. So we're going to start with the professional one. And I guess, who is this person? Why are you there making images? What's the story behind this?
So this is Karen Beaches, a drag queen in Los Angeles. And she was lovely enough to allow me to follow her after a performance back to her drag room. And I kind of just set up and took photos while she de-dragged, which was I amazing to watch and be a witness to. And I just sort of, every time she would take off a different layer, and there's so many layers to drag. And I don't mean that metaphorically, like literally there are so many layers to drag. And so every time like there was something that I kind of wanted a shot of, I just went, wait. And she was amazing. She just like would stop what she was doing, or I'd just be like, can you just look at me for a second? And it was honestly really, really tough to pick. This was for a series called Once More Without Feeling. And in this series, I took photos of different performers as they're taking off their costume. And so that's what this image is.
And what was kind of the motive to get them while they were de-dragging? While she was de-dragging, why was that kind of important?
I wanted to capture the marks left behind by, sort of the costume. There's a performance that we all sort of do, right? You can't be your most like vulnerable, dark, wounded self all the time in every room, right? We have this sort of version of ourselves that we present out to the world. And maybe a special select few get to see those wounds. And it means so much to take off the costume, to take off the mask, to take off the armor. And it leaves behind these marks when you've been wearing it around everywhere, right? And it means so much to show that version of yourself to somebody. And so I wanted to communicate that by way of showing the literal marks left behind by people. And some of the shots that I took of Karen are, you can see like the mark of a wig cap, the holes in the wig cap. You can see like little indents on her ear. You can, and in this one, so Karen wears 6 tights. I believe she said 6. Wow. Every night. And in this shot, you can kind of see the chaos of all of these like little pieces of, it started off as obviously as like a very tidy, like full of things. Every bit of the wall is full of stuff, but it's very, very tidy and organized, and things hung up in different places. And this is just like everything kind of coming off at the end of the night. So that was the motivation for the end of the night after the performance. And like the sweat on people's nose and the oil makeup kind of like still sitting on the skin.
Was there a change in kind of, not personality from her, but when people do drag, like I've often heard from people who do drag and perform that they kind of come into their own in that moment when they're on stage or in front of people, and they're wearing the tights, and you can see the other elements that goes into their appearance. So when that was like stripped away, did you notice any kind of difference? Was there less confidence, or anything that kind of stood out to you that came through while you were photographing them?
I know Karen in and out of drag. And of course there's like this difference in the persona. There's like Karen is such a my goodness, like extremely like charismatic and extroverted and what's the word I want to use? Like just so diva, so like confident and like connecting. And uh when Karen is out of drag, he's fairly quiet. Um
Okay.
in different environments, and I on that did like but seeing that specific moment of like the activity of the costume coming off, I'd never seen that transition in the same
Hmm.
day. um just extremely professional and extremely like, and here then I do this and then I do this and then I do this. I mean, I really was just watching like a routine, and something that Karen does all the time, the sort of putting on and the taking off. It's like there's so much to do that
Yeah.
yeah, we had so much fun, and what a hilarious, incredible person, and what an amazing thing to like allow me to be a witness to it. I really felt so honored to be allowed into these rooms. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is all I see when I look at the image, because it's interesting to see how much goes into it. Like, she looks confident in the shot. There's like a strength to her, but she also looks marginally exhausted as well. And I think you've captured that kind of not just the person wanting to be themselves, but just the work that goes into it. I think that's what makes this portrait for me so strong. I'm curious, out of all the work that you've done professionally, what is it about this particular one that you keep coming back to as like, this speaks to who B is as a photographer, as a person? Like, what is it? Why does this mean so much to you, this particular frame?
I think because it's a great example of my more conceptual work. It was a series that communicates something so much greater than the literal thing you're looking at. I think that this shot from the series is so strong because of what you were just describing. It's you see the exhaustion, and you see like how like the openness and how like honest this room is, and that transition, like of de-dragging, in terms of also, how does Karen sit with herself at the end of the night going back to Kevin, like that. um I'm sure there's something huge that happens for her as well, and there's the routine side of it. um all of us kind of, when we're going in between spaces, we go through something in our heads, right? We go through this like sentimental moment of like, oh, I'm this, but I'm also this. And that sort of connection, and the different types of connection, the way that Karen connects to people, the way that Kevin connects to people, I'm sure that transition is incredibly sentimental for Karen as well when sitting with it. And I feel like that kind of comes across in this image. I had asked, hey, as I always do, is there anything you don't want me to capture? Is there anything that feels private? You just speak up at any point. Or if there's something that after the fact you go, ooh, actually, I feel like in that moment I was comfortable, that actually I don't feel comfortable, you just let me know.
Hmm.
And the way that Karen just went, like, we're here. I have absolutely nothing to hide. Let's do it. There is nothing off limits. And there really wasn't, believe me. um, and yeah, that was magnificent.
Those are always the best kind of subjects, who are like, just do what you've got to do. That gives you
Hmm.
complete carte blanche to photograph in a way that you want. And have they seen the image? Well, how do they feel about it?
Oh my God. Yes. Loved. Yes. She loved it, shared it, was a huge fan when it started to get some award attention. She was just like so excited, and loved being a part of it. And that always makes a photographer feel really, really, really good. I mean, that's like the people that you want to love it the most are the subjects at the end of the day.
Exactly.
So that felt fantastic.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. We're going to go on to the personal one now.
Okay.
And this is, I'll let you introduce this individual to the world. I'm sure some
That
will not already
is
know who it is.
yeah, that's my daughter, Amelia Darling. And I chose it. I mean, here's the thing about the personal select is I could have sent you 100. There's not a single subject on the planet that I shoot more than my daughter. Of course, every parent that's a photographer will tell you the same. I loved this
Yeah.
one because it was completely candid. Like one, I was in the kitchen cooking. This was a few years ago, and she went and put on this like the tights and then the like gymnastics leotard on top of it, and she looked like, I don't know, an 80s wrestler or something like that. And like and came out and found these little like weights that I had and was like doing this little like workout. She's never seen an 80s workout video in her life. And I was just like, this is you have to just stay right there. And took this little snap. And I feel like when I look at it, it probably feels very different from what anyone else does because I just see these like really, I mean, just really, really fun dinners, just being at home, the two of us. And especially at that age, she's a little bit older now, she's 10. But at that age, it
Okay.
really is like me cooking and then just whatever chaos happens while I'm occupied by dinner. And that's what I see when I look at it.
And how old is she in this photograph?
In that photo, she's probably, I'm going off the top of my head. I want to say she's
Yeah.
like 7, but I'd have to go look at, I'm so sorry, I'd have to go look at the date. But yeah, I think she's
No, no,
around
no,
7.
that's fine.
Yeah, somewhere
Uh,
in there. Yeah.
but
And it changes a lot. 7 to 10 is like different animals, totally different beasts. Yeah.
but at this point, is she acclimatized to kind of having a camera in front of her, or is this kind of early phases of you photographing her, or her being aware of you photographing her? Like, how is she receiving it at this point? Is she like, yeah, I love it when mummy does this, or how is it?
She I've always taken photos of her. I started shooting her on film after my parents passed away.
Okay.
I went through a divorce during that same year, and what I was left with, this is also the answer to the question of like, how did you become a photographer? When did art photography start for you? And I was into photography when I was much younger, and then um, life happened. I went in different directions, and I
Right.
kind of slowed down on taking photos. And then after my parents passed away and I went through this divorce, I found myself in this life where there was no longer a witness to me, and there wasn't anyone else to witness my daughter's childhood with me. And I wanted to take photos of her to leave behind something physical. It wouldn't, for me, it needed to be filmed because I wanted something physical for her to have.
Okay.
And I wanted her to be able to see herself as I saw her. That was particularly important to me. And this photo is so much that for me as well. She always kind of loved it. Right around this time of me taking this photo, she was a big fan, and she's amazing in front of the camera. I mean, she's so, so, so natural and great. And now that she's 10, she's getting into this. She's like a little bit more vain. She's a little more self-aware. And so she does love that. And I always check in with her. And when she was little, I checked in a little bit less because her answer was so obvious. Now that she's
Yeah.
getting, when they're like 5, 6, if they don't like something, they just run away. Like it's very honest. Like, now that she's about 10, it's a little harder to read her emotions. And so I just check in with her, like, how are we feeling? And she's like, no, I love it. But she's saying without saying it, get my good angle though. Like it's a little bit of, she really wants to look how she wants to look. Like she wants to present herself in a certain way in front of the camera where that wasn't present before. Like that sort of like ego and vanity didn't exist before now. And now that she's kind of in these preteen years, she wants to be like pose and wants it to look right. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'm devastated,
How
but let's go.
I was going to ask, how is that transition from you, kind of not from a mother perspective, but from a photographer perspective? Because like if you look at the client work, even though you sometimes have the freedom, there's still like an objective in the back of your mind that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to get it. But whereas like a shot like this, you know, before dinner where she's, you know, exploring with clothes and she's doing her weight training, there's a what's the word? There's a naturalness to it, but that's not the word I'm trying to think of. It's where no one's really having to think. It's just pick up the camera, you know, she's in
Mm-hmm.
front of it. Whereas, like you say now, she's more, she's getting at that age where she's thinking about it. So you've kind of lost that
I can't get
natural.
that shot that I want.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how does that feel from a photographer's perspective, if you can kind of put it into that context?
At first I was kind of sad that I was losing this. Before she would stay in whatever that natural environment, the look on her face, whatever it was. And I mean, I'm not kidding. I have hundreds of photos that are just so, so great, and stuff that I won't really share with the world because it's her face, or it just feels, especially in our current world of social media and the way that the internet is, I think you're probably going to start seeing less and less of photographers showing photos of their children because it
Yeah.
feels too much of an invasion of privacy. And so I don't show very much. And there's so many like photos I love so much that I can't share at the moment. Maybe one day we'll see where the world goes. But
Yeah.
I was really sad at first, not being able to capture those photos. I didn't show her that, obviously. I just respect the boundary. But now I've kind of changed perspective on it, where I think what I'm capturing is different. I think there's also something really, um, you know, significant to capture in seeing her become more vain and self-aware. That too is a story. That is also in like the bigger picture of these photos from, let's see, 3, 4, when I started taking these film photos of her to now. You could like seeing that transition is also something to be captured, and seeing her maybe moments of insecurity, maybe moments of connection and then disconnection. This too is worth capturing and is also fascinating. And then I'm going to see even more transition because, let's be honest, the 10 between 18 every single year is like a completely different version of themselves. So it's going to be
Yeah.
amazing, even though it's different. And there's been this huge change for me as well as for her. I think it's going to be really incredible to look back at them even a year from now.
100%. 100%. It's a lovely shot, and I like that in her eyes. She's kind of got that "this is not my first rodeo" look about her. She knows what's going on, and it's
Absolutely.
a
She's
good one.
so ready.
Okay, so we've got one more to look at, and this is one that's never been seen before.
Yes.
It's a portrait. It's a lovely black and white portrait. So yeah, who are we looking at here?
This is a kid named Lennon. I shot this for a series I was working on that I haven't shown anywhere, where I took photos of people with a dead fish on them. And I don't know if you can see straight away looking at this photo, he has a dead fish on his
Okay,
knee.
he has a dead fish on his knee.
He has a dead
Did
fish
not
on
see
his
that.
knee. The dead fish is meant to represent this, trauma or insecurity or grief that is with you all the time. It's this like unsightly sort of piece of yourself that you wish just one fucking time you could leave at home. And no matter what room you're in, you could be with your favorite people on the planet. You could be having the best day of your life. It's still there. It's just on you, like a dead fish that's like stuck on your body, and it feels rotten and it feels heavy. And Lennon's father passed away 2 years ago, so he was one of the first people that I asked to be a subject. He's an incredible, bright. I know his mother, she's one of my best friends, and so I just asked, do you think he would be open to being a part of this? And she obviously asked him, but she was like, yes, he will absolutely love it. And he was incredible. And when I talked to him about every subject that I shot for this series, when I talked to them about what it symbolizes and every single person connected to it so much. And that was so important for me going into it. Lennon is an incredibly sensitive person and has in the last 2 years, he plays sports and he's really, really, really good at basketball. He's like the tallest 11-year-old you've ever seen in your life. And his dad, going through that and not having his dad with him and being a kid and not knowing a single other child who has a dead parent is so incredibly isolating, and everyone looks at you different. And that their transition back to school, I was quite close to them while they were trying to come. They missed, half a year or more of school, getting back into school and seeing them kind of struggle, feeling just different from everybody else and wanting to go to school and not be treated differently. But also wanting to be treated differently, like that, you want both at the same time. And what you really want, and I can say this as somebody who lost her parents in her 20s, which is not the same, is you kind of want the entire world to stop, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the meaning behind this photo. And the reason why I haven't shared it yet, and I don't even know if I will share this series, maybe a couple of images from it, but I've kind of paused it. And the reason for that is the state of the world, to be honest. I think that there's so much heaviness going on for everybody right now that taking on something that ignites this, I guess, reminded reality of trauma and pain and tension is not something that we need right now, and not something that I think people have the capacity to hold at the moment. And so I'll keep shooting it bit by bit, slowly, but I don't think that right now is the time to really show it anywhere. Um, so
I
it's a little
understand that.
secret. It's a secret.
It, this particular shot, I mean, because he's a young boy, God bless him, to lose your father that young, I can't imagine. But how is it in that moment him shoot, like, because he knows why the shot's being made, why the photograph's being made. There's also a dead fish on his knee,
There is,
which
yeah.
is so is he like, I don't know how to ask this question. Like, you kind of want to tell his story, which obviously involves him kind of getting into that mindset of, I'm carrying the grief of losing my father. How do you tackle that with him being a child, where you don't want to push him over the edge where, he's having a nervous breakdown, but you kind of don't want it to feel like fake and forced. So you're taking him into that grief, and you have a symbol of that as well. How do you tackle that kind of from a sensitivity point of view when it's a child? I know you can relate because you've lost your parents relatively young as well, but yeah, I would be personally concerned, like, God, I don't want to make this kid break down and cry or whatever. Like, how do you tackle that?
I think, firstly, I didn't bring up his dad. I told him
Okay.
the concept without letting him know, oh, by the way, these are all the things that you carry around. I just said, do you ever get that feeling? I was like, do you ever have anything that feels really heavy and feels like a part of yourself, maybe something you're insecure about or something that really hurts, that is just with you all the time and you wish it wasn't? And he just, yeah. And I kind of allow the subject to have their own freedom to decide what that pain or insecurity or nervousness is that they wish they could leave behind. And I think also for every subject that I've shot for this, because they know the concept beforehand and they know what the fish represents, they kind of come in with this like pride, with this sort of like, I'm excited to show this, to show what this feels like. And it feels, I think there's this sense of going into the representation of the pain more than sitting in it and feeling it in front of me.
Right. I think it's a great concept. I do understand why you don't want to, but then, not to push you to push it out to the world. I do completely get your reasoning, but I think obviously there's a lot of doom and gloom going on in the world, but I don't necessarily see this as a doom and gloom project. I think there's kind of a heroicism in kind of saying, yeah, this is my dead fish and this is what I carry, and here is me sitting with it, facing with it, being present with it. I know that's a very overused term in the healing circles of which I've been involved in, but it's true. Like it's
Yeah.
it's kind of, it's a positive way at looking at difficult environments and situations and experiences. So I think it adds. I think it goes against the doom and gloom we're fed on a daily basis. We're told, oh, this is terrible, this is awful, you may as well just hate everything. And then here's this photography project saying some things in life are awful and we have to carry them, but we can carry them, in a healthy way. And I think this project, he might not realize it now because he's a young lad. But look back on it and be like, maybe that was quite cathartic actually, without him being aware of it at the time. So you do you, but I'm just saying, I don't think it's a doom and gloom project.
I think that the subjects would agree with you that it feels cathartic. And I'm saying this because one of the subjects sat with me afterwards and said, this feels so good to be able to share in this kind of, acknowledging that this is there and it's with us all the time. And also to know that the person asking me to shoot this is also familiar with that. To me, I'm not a grief tourist. This isn't a gimmick to me. This isn't something that I'm asking people to show me where I have no connection to it myself. I'm not gawking at anyone. It's something that I came up with it because obviously it's incredibly personal to me. And it's what it really feels like. And it's getting other people who understand what that's like and then shooting them in that space. Um, I like what you're saying. I like it. I wonder if people are able to hold and connect to other people's experiences of it. I think that the subjects all loved showing it and would love for it. I know that they would all love for it to be seen. Um, but yeah, I would like for the world to be able to hold it as well. And I don't know with everything that's occupying us. And also, and yeah, the doom and gloom. The doom and gloom is like, maybe in a little bit more time, and who knows what's going to happen. Maybe we'll be in a better space where there's a little bit more openness. Right now, there's so much noise everywhere. It's everywhere. It's not like there's this one awful thing happening, but like we still all learn about it in one newspaper. Like there's so much information and there's so much white noise and there's so much trauma and pain. And how does one trauma compare to another? And everything feels significant and therefore nothing does. And so that's why it feels like a hard time. But I like what you're saying. And maybe sometime in the near future, not because the world will be in a perfect place, but maybe that it'll be in a place where we have space for multiple things to exist at one time.
I hear you. I hear you
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate it's very short form, this podcast, so I appreciate you sharing the stories behind these images. I love every single one of them. I think they're great, and I guess I do. Yeah, I don't think I could sleep if I don't ask. Like, what environment are you in where you go, dead fish? That's it. That's what we're gonna eat.
The weird fucking place in my head, man. I have no idea. Everything about I actually wish I could remember the exact moment that it occurred to me to shoot this way, but I think the feeling comes first. This sort of like I sit with these things every single day and a lot of how I come up with things is asking myself like how can I show this? How can I show this without, shooting something that feels something, I'm not showing people at funerals. I'm not showing people at deathbeds. I'm showing the aftermath and like the feeling that sits with us and trying to communicate it through something that's like literal in a portrait that touches on something conceptually that we don't often talk about. And I try to shoot the tension and the space in between objects and the significance of them just as essential as the silence is in a song.
Super.
Yeah.
The beautiful mind of creatives, eh? Who knows where it comes from, but we're just so happy that it does come. That's great. That's the best thing.
Weird in there, man.
Excellent. Is there anything that you've got going on that you want to share? Anything you want to say? Anything, if you want to like wish England good luck in the World Cup, anything like that you want to do?
I genuinely mean this. Good luck, England, in the World Cup. Just be kind to one another, leave space for one another, and good luck, England. Separately.
Okay. All right, B. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me, and I will catch up with you soon.
Yeah, thanks, Dan.
Peace.
Guys, if you enjoyed this episode of Them Frames That Make Us, then go show B some love. I will drop some links to her socials and website down in the description. And again, if you enjoy the podcast, then please do tap a like, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts, and do subscribe so you never miss out on future episodes. Until the next time, this is Them Frames That Make Us. I'm Dan. See ya.